What if I told you that heroes don't always wear capes or fight bad guys? Sometimes the greatest heroes are the ones we never expect. Let me tell you a story about a hero in a small town who changed everything without anyone even knowing. Ready to meet them? Once upon a time, in a small, quiet town, there lived a boy named Alex. He was just like any other kid. He loved playing soccer with his friends, reading comic books, and dreaming about becoming a superhero. Alex always imagined he would grow up to fight villains and save the day. But little did he know, the real heroes around him weren't the ones with special powers. One day, while Alex was walking home from school, he noticed something strange. A small old woman was sitting on the steps of a house, looking very sad. Her name was Mrs. Carter, and everyone in the neighborhood knew her. She lived alone, and people often saw her sitting in her yard, staring at the empty street. Alex had never spoken to Mrs. Carter before, but he decided to approach her. "Hi, Mrs. Carter, are you okay?" he asked, his voice gentle. Mrs. Carter looked up, surprised. "Oh, Alex, I'm fine. Just thinking about the past," she said, with a small smile. But Alex could see she wasn't really okay. Her eyes were sad, and her voice sounded tired. Alex didn't know what to do, but he didn't want to leave her feeling lonely. So he did something simple. Every day after school, he would stop by her house for a few minutes. They would talk about small things: his soccer game, her garden, and even the weather. Sometimes Alex didn't even say much. He just listened. Weeks passed, and Mrs. Carter's face began to change. She smiled more. She started to walk outside to water her plants. And sometimes Alex would even help her with small tasks, like carrying groceries. Other kids began to notice, and soon they were all helping her too. The neighborhood became brighter, and Mrs. Carter was no longer the lonely woman on the porch. She was a part of the community again. One afternoon, while they were sitting together, Mrs. Carter said, "Alex, you are my hero." Alex was surprised. "But I'm not a superhero," he said, laughing. Mrs. Carter smiled warmly. "You don't need superpowers to be a hero. Sometimes all it takes is a kind heart and a little time." Alex thought about her words. He realized she was right. He didn't need to save the world to make a difference. Just by being kind, he had helped someone feel happy again. And that, he thought, was what being a hero really meant. From that day on, Alex understood that not all heroes are real in the way we see them in movies or books. Some heroes are just ordinary people who do small, kind things for others. And that's what makes them truly special. Sometimes, the greatest heroes are the ones who don't wear capes. They're the ones who make a difference in the simplest ways, like sharing a smile, offering a helping hand, or just listening. Remember, you can be a hero too, just by being kind.